Hello, welcome back to Shakil's physics classes. Previous class we have stopped at applying AC to an LCR circuit. We will continue from where we stopped. Today we will discuss LCR series resonance circuit. Series resonance circuit. If you remember previous class, we have derived expression for impedance. Impedance Z is equal to under root of R squared plus L omega minus 1 by C omega the whole square. Here L omega we denote it as L2 pi mu, and this is called inductive reactance. Similarly XC is 1 by 2C 2 pi mu, and this we call it as capacitive reactance. Is that okay to you? As you can see from the equation, XL is directly proportional to frequency. XC is inversely proportional to frequency. Therefore, I can easily say for very low frequency, inductive reactance will be negligibly small. Capacitive reactance will be very large, very high. As you increase the frequency of the applied alternating EMF, you find as nu increases, XL will keep increasing. As nu increases, XC will keep decreasing. I repeat, initially, if the frequency is low, inductive reactance will be negligibly small. Capacitive reactance XC will be very large. As the frequency increases, inductive reactance increases, capacitive reactance decreases. At a particular frequency, let us say mu naught, L omega becomes equal to 1 by C omega. At a particular frequency mu naught, inductive reactance becomes equal to capacitive reactance. Therefore, I will write this as L 2 pi mu naught is equal to 1 by C 2 pi mu naught. Therefore, mu naught square is 1 upon 4 pi square LC, or mu naught is 1 upon 2 pi under root of LC. Now we arrive at an expression for frequency mu naught, which we call it as resonant frequency. We call this as resonant frequency. So what happens when XL becomes equal to XC? The impedance value, if you can see here, when XL becomes equal to XC or L omega becomes equal to 1 upon C omega, I will say at resonance equal to R. So as to say that when resonance occurs, impedance becomes minimum. This is the minimum value. When impedance becomes minimum, that is opposition to the flow of current in a circuit comprising of LCR becomes minimum, current will become maximum, which means this circuit, LCR circuit, at series resonance, impedance is becoming minimum, current is becoming maximum, and therefore an LCR circuit at resonance is also called an acceptor circuit. This is also called an acceptor circuit because it accepts or allows maximum current to flow through it. Therefore, an LCR circuit at resonance is known as acceptor circuit. The question now is, we need to define what is known as what is series resonance frequency. That frequency at which inductive reactance becomes equal to capacitive reactance. That frequency at which inductive reactance becomes equal to capacitive reactance. That frequency is called resonant frequency. At resonant frequency, impedance becomes minimum, current becomes maximum. Therefore, the circuit is known as acceptor circuit. Now, sir, we need to see how this LCR circuit behaves when frequencies vary. To understand the behavior of an LCR circuit when frequencies vary, we can draw a graph taking frequency along the x-axis and the corresponding current to the circuit along the y-axis. And let us try to understand that using these graphs. Okay? We can draw a family of curves. I will restrict myself to these two curves and try to explain to you what actually it means. These are two curves drawn for different values of R. Let us say here the value is, R value is say 100 ohms. Let us say here for the blue curve, the R value is 30 ohms. Now, sir, if we now consider this curve where R is 100 ohms, this will be corresponding to the maximum current in the circuit. Now, if you vary the frequency and that frequency at which current is maximum, you will call it as resonant frequency. Therefore, for this curve 1, let me take this as curve 2. Okay? For curve 1, this is the maximum current. This is the maximum current. And that frequency at which the current becomes maximum, I call it as resonant frequency mu naught. If you look at curve 1 carefully, if you deviate slightly from the resonant frequency, this way or that way, both are right, you find the variation in the value of current. The variation in the value of current is very, very small. You understand what I am saying? From the resonant frequency, I am deviating a little bit. If I deviate from the resonant frequency, definitely there must be change in the current. The change in the value of current I find is very small. However, if I take curve 2, this corresponds to the maximum current. This point corresponds to maximum current. For the same deviation, you find the current variation is large. So when can I say resonance is sharp? I would say resonance is sharp when, for a small variation from the resonant frequency, if the variation in the current is large, then I would say resonance is sharp. So I find from the values of R, for curve 1, I have taken R as 100 ohms. For curve 2, I have taken R as 30 ohms. And I find if the value of R is small, I find the resonance to be sharp. This is what I have explained graphically. Mathematically, to assess, analyze the sharpness of resonance of an LCR circuit, we depend on a factor called Q factor. Q factor, also known as quality factor. How do we define it? The Q factor or quality factor. The Q factor or quality factor defines the sharpness of resonance. So it is defined as the ratio of inductive reactance to the resistance of the circuit, or we can define it this way: the quality factor or sharpness of an LCR circuit can be defined as ratio of capacitive reactance to the total resistance of the circuit. If quality factor is denoted with the letter Q, then according to my definition, it is defined as ratio of inductive reactance to the resistance of the circuit. Therefore, can also be written as L omega R upon R. You may ask me why I have written suffix R. Suffix R indicates that this can happen only at resonance. So at resonance, I told you L omega is equal to 1 upon say omega. Therefore, if I denote this as R, this as R, from this equation I can write omega R squared is equal to 1 upon LC. In other words, I will write omega R is 1 upon under root of LC. Is that okay to you? Now this value of omega R, let me substitute here. Therefore, Q becomes equal to L upon R into 1 upon under root of LC. In other words, this can reduce to 1 upon R under root of LC. And as has been seen in the graph, you find that quality factor depends on resistance inversely. Therefore, as the value of R decreases, the quality factor, sharpness of resonance of an LCR circuit increases. And therefore, this expression clearly tells us that the quality or sharpness of resonance of an LCR circuit depends on the resistance of the circuit. Therefore, if the LCR circuit is going to use minimum value of resistance, then the sharpness of resonance will be very high. Quality of resonance will be high. The question now is, where is this? used. LCR circuits at resonance are used in tuning of radio circuits. In other words, are used in the tuning of radio receiver. What happens? Many will not be used to radios these days because this is the age of cell phones, television. We very rarely use radio receivers. If at all, we will be using FM. Now, let me tell you where is it used. I will try to give you this with a small diagram. I will rub this part. Okay. What I have drawn here is a radio receiver with an on-off switch and a tuner. Different radio stations will be transmitting their programs at different frequencies. We all know there are different, so many radio stations. All the different radio stations will be transmitting their programs at different frequencies. The moment you switch on your radio receiver, you will not be in a position to listen to the station which you would like to. To enable to listen to a particular station, you need to tune the radio receiver so that the natural frequency of the radio receiver matches with the frequency of the station which you wish to listen. To put it very plain, I am switching on the aerial of my radio receiver is receiving signals from different stations transmitted at different frequencies. This radio receiver is unable to pick anyone. I keep tuning the radio receiver. When I keep tuning the radio receiver, this radio receiver inside has an L and a C. In a radio receiver, the condenser usually used, we call it as a gang condenser. When you tune, you are changing the value of L and C. When the value of L and C change, the natural frequency of a radio receiver is altered. When the natural frequency of a radio receiver matches, becomes equal to any one of the frequencies received by the antenna or aerial of a radio receiver, resonance occurs that will drive your radio receiver. Subsequent modifications in the circuit by the circuitry inside the radio receiver will help you to listen to the program which you want to of that particular station. All others, once resonance takes place, you know the current is maximum, your radio receiver is able to pick up that particular signal, reject all others, and therefore subsequent modifications in the radio receiver enable you to listen to the song or the program you want. This is how tuning in radio receivers takes place, and series resonance circuit is a direct application in the tuning of a radio receiver. Is that clear to you, sir? May I ask you, what is the application of this? Is that clear to you, sir? Take my ask you, what is the application of the series resonance circuit? You must be in a position to tell that it is used in tuning of radio receivers. How? I have told you here. When resonance takes place, that particular frequency, current is maximum, therefore your radio receiver is able to pick up that particular signal, reject all others. Okay, sir? With this, we'll try to move into the next topic for discussion, which is parallel resonance circuit. Parallel resonance circuit. Inductance or capacitance are connected in parallel to which is applied an alternating EMF. Let us say the total current is I. Okay? The current flowing through the inductance, let me take it as I1. That flowing through the capacitance as I2. Let us try to discuss this. In the circuit, you find an inductance and a capacitance are connected in parallel to which is applied an alternating EMF given as E is equal to E naught sine omega t. We assume here the resistance R of the inductor to be negligibly small. The value of instantaneous current in the circuit, I have taken it as I, or the total current in the circuit to be I. The current flowing through inductance is I1 and that flowing through the capacitance as I2. And these currents, if you remember the previous classes, or you would have studied this in class 12, that in an inductance, if you apply an AC, current will lag the applied EMF by a phase angle pi by 2. Similarly, when you apply alternating EMF to a pure capacitor circuit, current will lead the applied EMF by a phase angle pi by 2. To be more precise, in this diagram, I can say the currents I1 and I2 are anti-phase with each other, because in an inductance L, current I1 is lagging the applied EMF. In the capacitance C, current I2 is leading the applied EMF, and therefore they are anti-phase with each other. To such a case, let me apply Kirchhoff's first law. Applying Kirchhoff's first law. Algebraic sum of currents at a junction is 0. Therefore, I can write I minus I1 minus I2 is equal to 0, or I is equal to I1 plus I2. Let me call this as equation number 1. So if you are not familiar with this, if I take this as junction, those currents flowing towards junction, I have taken it positive. Those moving away from the junction, taken negative. Therefore, the equation, hence equation 1. Now, the instantaneous instantaneous. Potential difference across inductor. I can write this as equal to L di1 by d. This will be the instantaneous potential difference across the inductor. Therefore, this is equal to E. In other words, I will write E is equal to L di1 by dt. Now this E can be written as E naught sin omega t is equal to L di1 by dt. Therefore, di1 is equal to E naught by L into sin omega t dt. Is that okay to you, sir? Now we need to integrate that expression to arrive at an expression for I1. Okay. Therefore, I will write integrating. I get I1 is equal to E naught by L. If you integrate sin omega t minus cos omega t. Omega t, if you integrate 1 by omega. So you get the value of I1 as minus E naught upon L omega cos omega t. Similarly, when you apply this alternating EMF, your capacitor will get charged. Therefore, the instantaneous charge on the capacitor or instantaneous charge between the plates of the condenser or capacitor, the condenser. I write it as Q is equal to C E naught sin omega. From this charge, we need to find out current. Therefore, I write it as I2 is equal to dq by dt. Therefore, d by dt of C E naught sin omega t. Therefore, this will be C E naught as a constant. If you differentiate sin omega t, cos omega t if you differentiate omega. Therefore, you end up with C omega E naught cos omega t. So you have arrived at the values of I1 and I2. So with these values of I1 and I2, let us substitute in equation 1. Therefore, my equation 1 will take a form I is equal to, in the place of I1 minus E naught L omega cos omega t plus E naught C omega cos omega t. We can rearrange that expression. I will rearrange it as I is equal to E naught into C omega minus 1 by L omega cos omega t. So I have got an expression for total current. Now, sir, for resonance to happen, for resonance, C omega should be equal to 1 upon L omega, in which case the current becomes equal to 0. So what is the inference here? What are we trying to tell you? So when resonance takes place in a parallel resonance circuit, total current is 0, though the currents are flowing through inductance and capacitance. I already told you they are antiphase with each other. Therefore, 0, which means unlike series resonant circuit where impedance became minimum, therefore current becomes maximum. In a parallel resonant circuit, impedance becomes maximum. Where shall I write? I will write it here. Okay? In a parallel resonant circuit, in a parallel resonance circuit, impedance becomes maximum. Therefore, current becomes minimum. Hence, such a circuit is called a rejection circuit. Rejection circuit, or is also known as a rejector circuit, because it rejects maximum current to flow through it, and therefore a parallel resonant circuit is called a rejector circuit. And why is it called a rejector circuit? I have told you here very clearly. A parallel resonant circuit, we find the total current flowing through the circuit at all instants is 0, even though currents are flowing through inductance and resistance. And hence, such a circuit, we call it as a rejector circuit. What will be its frequency? The frequency as before will be 1 by 2 pi under root of LC. Is that clear to you, sir? This is the expression for frequency of an LCR parallel resonant circuit. And in this case, we have assumed the resistance of the circuit to be negligibly small, and the inductor has negligible resistance. Okay, sir? Fine. If this is okay to you, we move on to the next topic for discussion, which is how to calculate the power in an AC circuit. Power in an AC circuit. If we talk about a DC circuit, power is product of potential difference into current. For any DC circuit, we have one value of potential, one value of current, multiply, you end up with power. Whereas in the case of an AC circuit, I told you the other day that the current or voltage continuously vary with time, if it is can be E or I. Therefore, as in the case of a DC circuit, just by mere multiplication of E and I, we will not be in a position to arrive at the power consumed by the circuit. Instead, we try to calculate instantaneous power averaged over one cycle of AC. How to do that? That's what I am trying to explain to you and derive an expression for that now. In a series LCR circuit, we know from the previous class that the current and EMF are not in phase with each other. Depending upon the value of XL and XC, the current may lead or lag the applied EMF. Let us say the applied EMF to be E naught sine omega t the current will lag. If XL is less than XC, current will lead. So for my case here, I am assuming XL is less than XC and therefore the current is leading the applied EMF by a phase angle phi. Therefore, I have taken the expression I is equal to I naught sine omega t plus phi. As I said, I would like to calculate what is this phi. Phi is the phase angle difference. Phase angle between EMF and current. Okay, sir? Therefore, instantaneous power. For calculate instantaneous power, I need to multiply E and I. Therefore, I write E naught sine omega t, I naught sine omega t plus phi. Is that okay to you, sir? Now this will be equal to E naught I naught sine omega t, bracket open. This can be expanded in the form of sine A plus B. Therefore, sine omega t cos phi plus cos omega t sine phi. Right, sir? Now, this can be written as equal to E naught I naught cos phi into sine squared omega t plus E naught I naught sine phi into sine omega t cos omega t. No harm doing like this, sir. Okay, just multiply. What I will do now here is, here I will multiply by 2, divide by 2, value will not change. So what happens is, this will become E naught I naught cos phi into sine squared omega t plus E naught I naught by 2 into sine phi, 2 sine A cos A, sine 2A, therefore sine 2 omega t. Is that clear to you, sir? Is that clear to you? Now we need to average, take the average over one complete cycle of AC to calculate average power. Therefore, average power we need to add all the instances and divide by the total time. Therefore, I write P is equal to E naught I naught into cos phi divided by the total time t integral 0 to t sine square omega t dt. Okay, sir? Plus E naught I naught by 2 into sine phi into t integral 0 to t sine 2 omega t dt. This can be written as E naught I naught cos phi divided by t into integral 0 to t 1 minus cos 2 omega t, okay, by 2 into finally just mathematics here afterwards. I will integrate